So welcome back to the Coach and FS show. This is season 3, episode 4. We were at a math teacher on Broken Dreams. And we were also remembering, the teachers that we've had through the ages and the impact that they've had on us. And I think we do unanimously agree, they have shaped us for better or for worse. And this is not something that we would have said maybe at the time we were in school. We would not have thought that they had the same impact that TV or popular culture did have on us. But अक्सर हकीकत यह है कि they do have a very lasting impact on us in their actions. And I think the social responsibility of an educator is quite understated. But what do you want to foray into now, man? Like, I know we keep going from place to place. हम काफ़ी दरबदर है इस इलाके में कि just keep talking from here and from there and कहीं ना कहीं तो पहुंच जाते. But where do you want to start from?
I'm not sure, man. I mean, what else is something that we haven't touched on? I mean, anything interesting that's been in your vicinity or in your radar lately that you think is worth sharing?
It's a good question कि आजकल जैसे मैंने कहा काफ़ी बुरे वक्त चल रहे भाई. जो पुराने ज़माने जो हमारे बुरे यादें हैं वो भी आजकल की जो हकीकत जो चल रहा है उससे बेहतर है भाई. मगर आजकल यार चल क्या रहा है कि यार ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं. जैसे मैंने कहा काफ़ी पिछले बारे हमने तो ये बात की थी. वैसे सोशल मीडिया पर हम लौटाने तो ज़रूर है भाई कि इट्स बिन अ वीक. लाइक इट्स नॉट बिन अ वीक, इट्स बिन 2 weeks. और यार मुझे याद ही नहीं है सोशल मीडिया कि पता नहीं आदत हो गई है कि when I hear people. वैसे पिछले हफ्ते मैं वैसे मैनेजमेंट मीटिंग नहीं था, मैं था, एक और बंदा तो मुझसे he keeps calling me his little brother and I keep telling him, first of all, I'm not little. That's the point that annoys me. You can call me brother if you want to. But he's like 16 years older to me, right? And so this happens to me and this happens to him. Like काफ़ी बारे होते हैं कि when we're at the end of our mental capacity, you know what I mean? कि वो दिन होता है कि I've been thinking so much कि I don't want to think at all, कि हम फजूल की बातें करते हैं, like काम की दफ्तर की दरमियान. तो वैसे एक शेर है कि पता नहीं लोग मुझे कभी कहते हैं कि I'm not always in the same place कि जहाँ ज़रूरत है मैं वहाँ होते सही. तो बंदे ने मुझसे नहीं कहा मगर बंदे ने कहा कि ये वैसे हाफिज़ साहब की शेर है कि महीनों बाद दफ्तर आ गए, सहरा में जलपरी आ गई. तो काफ़ी मतलब मगर यार ये जो एहसास होता है ना जब this happens to me quite often कि I've been thinking so much कि you spend so much time in the zone. And when I say thinking, you're dealing with problems, you're dealing with people calling you, all this, it's all happening at the same time. कि उसकी बाद जब वो खामोशियाँ होता है ना, you don't want to think at all. और हम दोनों को ये काफ़ी होता है कि I'm just done some days. मुझे कुछ सुनना भी नहीं, कहना भी नहीं, just leave me alone, Sometimes it's terror of war. तो ये बंदा जो उसकी 46 की उम्र है वो और मैं एक रूम में और मैं दीवार को देख रहा है और वो टिकटॉक पर वीडियोस देख रहा है. एंड इट्स सो डम मैन कि ये जो कैट वीडियोस होते हैं स्नो की वीडियोस होते हैं, बंदे ने फुल वॉल्यूम पर ये देख रहा है और मैं वहाँ मतलब अपने आप की जो ज़िंदगी की मकसद है वो दीवार में ढूंढ रहा है. और आजकल ऐसे हालात है भाई कि पता नहीं ऐसे दिन काफ़ी होते हैं. It's not even rare, almost 2-3 times a week this happens to me when I'm just done. बात ही नहीं करो मुझसे, लाइक कल मिलेंगे आपको.
Bro, that image, that mental image just made me like laugh so hard, dude.
Yeah.
Like you both sitting in the room
Yeah.
and you're just staring at the wall. But नहीं यार फिर भी better है, you know, to not fall into this scrolling paralysis where you're just constantly doom scrolling and you don't realize that it's been hours.
Yeah.
That's not how I want to live, you know.
Dude, and TikTok is way worse at this. Like, there was a time when Instagram didn't have Reels, it was fine. But yeah, Reels आने के बाद doom scrolling is exactly how I put it. Like, I know so many people, उसकी यार इतने तन्हाई में जी रहा है बंदा, सही? दफ्तर जाता है और उसके बाद घर आता है और 3 घंटे ये स्क्रॉल करने में उसकी ज़िंदगी है भाई, किसी और को मिलता ही नहीं. तो मैं अगर फारिग हूँ, अगर मैं दीवार को देख रहा हूँ ना, मैं मानता हूँ आपकी बात तो सही है कि it's better to look at a wall than it is to doom scroll.
I still think it is, man, because just the idea of like working all day long and just coming home and that's all you do and then you go to bed, it just sounds like nothing seems sadder than that, you know what I mean?
It's like it's a sadder reality than our reality, you know? कि हम
which is a really
which वैसे भी काफी बर्बाद है.
नहीं, I mean honestly, man, when I think about that, when I think about just the saddest reality, that's the image that comes to mind.
I agree.
And it's just
so unfulfilling.
It's just surprising that that's the reality for so many people, man. Like your friend's not alone, you know. Like I can name several people I've met for whom that's like that's their world, you know. Like the few hours that they have to themselves. That's all they're doing. They're just mindlessly scrolling and then hit the sack and then go to bed.
और यार एक और बात है कि जैसे मैंने कहा बंदा मुझसे काफ़ी बड़ा है, तो one of the things since we met he's been telling me is Fahad, don't get married, yeah. और इससे ज़्यादा like unhappily married person मैंने नहीं देखी भाई, कि इसकी he's a workaholic. I'm sure you've seen people like this. There are workaholics or workaholics because they hate going home to their family, you know. Like उसकी काम में ज़्यादा मतलब दिलचस्पी नहीं है कि I know this बंदा कि 6 बजे होते 7 बजे होते कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता. He doesn't want to go home because he like he's not Indian or like he's Arab, yeah. So but even though he's got like an arranged marriage, तो छोटी उम्र में उसकी शादी हुए, and his wife I don't think seems like a bad person. They just don't seem like, you know, they get along well. But they have 4 kids, and the kids are annoying. Crazy. The kids are annoying as well. He doesn't really like them either. So he doesn't like. I've seen this बंदा और like हमेशा ये करता है बंदा कि he's a very good man, you know, but he'll always, once the work is all done, सबको भुलाता है कि he is quite high up, तो उसकी direct reports काफ़ी होता है, and he just keeps ये बंदे around him and they just talk about फजूल की बात है. और जो भी बंदे हैं ना, like उसकी कभी कभी खुद की बीवी होते बच्चे होते, they want to go home, right? कि they're still young, they're young couple, things like that. But you know, he's their boss, so they can't really leave either. So yeah, hamisha, like a lot of people have told me this is the one problem that he has, that he spends the entire night in the office, and he's not really workaholic यार. वो दिन में 3 घंटे के काम करता है, उसके अलावा बाकी सब वक्त फजूल करता है. But he has constantly told me, Fahad, don't get married. और कभी कभी यार मतलब जब मैं 2-3 साल पहले मुझे लोग काफ़ी पूछते थे कि कब शादी कर रहा है. आजकल पूछते ही नहीं. तो वैसे कल भी मैं अपने रिश्तेदार के घर पे थे और काफ़ी लोग मानते हैं कि मैं कुछ करेंगे, कि सब उसकी ख्वाब मुझ पर रखा है कि you know, I can't wait for you to get married. And I'm like, यार तू कौन है, like तू क्यों and like पता नहीं यार कि लोग इतने, they're like, you know, I'm sure you'll find a good girl, and yeah, I don't even care at this point, you know, कि लोग जो भी कहते हैं मैं सुनता हूँ और मानता हूँ, मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
Same यार. मुझे भी ये same exact चीज कितने बंदों ने और बंदियों ने कही है यार कि
वाकई
मैं अब तो एक कान से सुन के दूसरे कान से निकाल देता हूँ.
हाँ
क्योंकि अब तो आदत सी हो गई है मुझको ऐसे
जीने में. Oh, the sad reality that we call our lives, eh?
भाई हमारा यार हर लाइन कोट होती है आप. It's like, have you ever been to the Reddit r/Sopranos? Have you been to the subreddit?
Yeah, I'm subscribed, yeah.
Dude, no fucking way. That's like my favorite subreddit. Like, you know,
Sure.
I still scroll just like the front page. I'm like a lurker now. I don't even have an account.
Oh,
I just lurk.
What happened to the account that I was following?
Dude, it's funny you say that.
Yeah.
Yesterday I looked it up to go back and look at my post history, my comment history.
Yeah.
And it's still there, man. And like some of the comments are from like 13 years ago. I think I'm in the 14-year club.
Yeah, me too.
Dude, it's just I don't think I have access to that account anymore.
How come?
But I just looked it up.
You lost the password.
So like, yeah, that's right. And I haven't logged in forever. You know, I don't even know what my password was.
Yeah.
But I remember the username, right? So I looked my account up, and man, I was like commenting on r/politics when like Ron Paul was running for president.
Dude, you're bringing up so many memories. कि मुझे ये भी याद है कि I've seen some of your comments on r/atheism and like the not just politics but also religion. मुझे
for sure.
हाँ, ये भी याद है. But like, dude, Ron Paul just brought back so many memories.
Exactly, man. But no, go on. Sorry.
I was in favor of Ron Paul, to be honest. Like, आज भी मुझे लगता है कि बंदा काफी, he's like, you know, like समझदार Bernie Sanders.
I know what you mean, and like honestly, he had a pretty big following at the time, and,
He did.
and like you won't believe this, man. Like so. Finally, it came down to Obama and Romney,
Which year was this? Like, which election are we talking? 2012 election?
2012, yeah.
Right, nice. The primaries, the primaries, yeah, the Democratic primaries.
Yeah, that's right. He was running for the Republican candidacy.
Yeah.
He was like quite ahead, I remember, but then ultimately it's like Romney who won the ticket.
Oh God,
and
Mitt Romney, yeah, what a, I don't know how you call him. It's like, he reminds me of Butter Toast.
Yeah, man, I know, right? There's something so like vanilla. He's like what they call like plain white toast.
Exactly, and it's because he's Mormon. I keep forgetting he's Mormon. That's exactly why.
Yeah, he's from Utah, so I think I think that's where like he's from originally.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, man. Like it's I've never heard of, you know, Mormonism is interesting too. I mean, it's another rabbit hole I've gone down.
Me too.
Because I was caught so off guard when
Jacksonville, Florida, Mississippi is where, you know, is where, I don't know, like I've heard this on South Park. Like I started because on South Park they say, you know, the birthplace of Christianity is in Jacksonville, Mississippi, and I'm like, what are they on about?
It's actually Missouri.
Sorry, not Mississippi.
No, I'm joking. I mean, it's equally like unlikely, but I mean, I just think it's crazy, man, that you
Mormonism,
know, because the guy who founded it was like a known con man. Like he's someone who was even arrested for you know for like conning people, for defrauding people.
Yeah, and he had what do you call it? Crystals that he could read out of, that he could make sense of the Bible from, and he wrote the Book of Mormon. That's how he wrote it. But I don't know what it was. Rocks.
But you know.
Yeah.
Having said that, like they are very like as a community, they're very high and like they're very well to do, and like have a very high rate of like educational achievement.
Yeah.
And like, you know, there is like, when you look at the Salt Lake City, Utah,
Yeah.
it's ranked like number 1 in America for upward mobility.
Right.
Like your chances of starting in like the bottom 25% and making it to the top 25%.
How do you know this? I've never seen a like mobility index till now.
This was something that came up in like one of my classes, 2 of my courses in school. So economists study it, and also like sociologists.
Right.
But yeah, economists do measure like economic mobility, like just there is an index for that, just the way that they measure inequality and, you know, other economic variables.
Right.
So yeah, this is an interesting one, and in America, like Salt Lake City, Utah, it's like number 1, and they attribute that to like, you know, there's a strong sense of community, like people helping each other out, you know, and like a strong family structure, you know, belief in like the family unit, and like there are all these factors that are conducive to that. And even Mitt Romney, man, was very like well off. Like he was pretty high up in like Bain.
Yeah.
You know Bain, right?
Yeah, Bain, yeah.
Dude, Bain is huge, man. Like if you're like, even if you're working at like as a janitor at Bain, you know, you're probably making bank, dude. You know what I mean?
True, yeah. I don't disagree. Very big, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, but a lot of this is BS, though. I will admit, man. Like the stuff that all of consulting, I think, like consulting to a large extent is BSing.
Dude, like my favorite like line on consulting, and you know this, but like मैं इतना काफी नलायकों को जानता हूँ जो BCG, Bain, you know, McKinsey, इन सब को काम करता है. And my favorite line, again, the worst of this law is McKinsey, and I'm very outspoken about this. Like I post this shit on LinkedIn. I don't care. कि मेरे काफी contacts हैं जो सब consulting में काम करते हैं, and they're all 23-year-olds with an Excel sheet who will tell you, how to run a business that you've been doing for 40 years. तो मैं मानता नहीं इन बंदों की बात, मगर like my favorite line is, tell a McKinsey bro that you have 6 kids and 5 chairs, and he'll tell you to kill a kid. They're that dumb. But
they really are,
consulting
man.
is BS.
Often,
I agree.
It really is, man. There's no doubt about it. And in fact, one of the big reasons companies hire consultants is so they can justify like harsh decisions to their employees.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, we hired these guys and they said this is what we need to do, So this is the experts telling us that you need to be fired. You know what I mean? Like, and yeah, man, that's like, in terms of actual like expertise, I don't think they have anything to offer that you couldn't like find yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a Google search, right? But like, if you look at the strategy of like, take McKinsey for example, they come with a strategy for a business. It's defined by McKinsey. They have the 7S strategy. That cannot be global. You can't have a global strategy for a business. There's no way that works. It's dumb from the outset.
Yeah, there's no one size fits all, right?
Yeah.
Like that just doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
But no, man. I mean, it's just a scheme, So many like established industries and like multi-billion-dollar industries are like
full of shit,
based on like deception and full of shit. Yeah, that's the right word. Yeah. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. But yeah, man, it's just absurd how like you can have like an entire industry based on like complete, fugazi.
Fugazi, nice. But like, पता है सबसे बड़े बेवकूफ कौन है? Like, the guys who are employing the consultants know what they're getting into. The consultants know what they're doing. It's the lower level employees that think they're doing meaningful work जो सबसे बड़े बेवकूफ होते हैं भाई. Like, they're the idiots here.
Bro, man, they're the ones who really like lose out as well as a result of these, these partnerships. Like, Bain as well, man. Like, the big thing they do is like private equity as a whole. I think the big thing they do is like restructuring and downsizing.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
Just
is
tell
just
them to
euphemism for
firing people.
euphemism for just large scale
Layoffs.
job cuts.
Yeah, which you
layoffs,
can do on
yeah.
your own. There's no point in hiring Bain.
Yeah, man. I mean, they have like the money to do it as well, and
Why would you pay
like,
Bain?
often
Just pay people bigger severance.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I mean, but yeah, even private equity, dude. So much of it is BS. Like there's no real like
value.
You can. Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, anyone can do what the analysts do.
Yeah, anyone with an Excel sheet.
Yeah, now it's not even hard, man. With AI, like you can value any company and like.
Dude, AI is really taking them to the rafters, man. All the consultants, like, are really getting, like, you can see the impact this has. I've been seeing this a lot. AI is really shutting them down.
It's yeah, man. It's definitely a disruptive force, and not just a disruptive force, man. Like now, I was looking at the social studies curriculum, right, for grade 7s and 8s, and they're talking about the different revolutions in history, right? Like starting from the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
And now they've actually included AI as like the latest revolution.
No way.
Know? That yeah, man, it's truly like a transformative force that's like just turn things upside down, And yeah, a lot of these jobs, man, are just so like replaceable now, so can easily be automated. That it's really going to put the industry in crisis in a few years.
There's a few things I want to say, man. First of all, I'd like to just look at that timeline of the revolutions. But AI in terms of, South Park and they took our jobs, but that, here's a question I want to ask, right? Because I know people are like in a frenzy about AI taking their jobs away. But our friend, Iman, who runs a copy business, right? So she writes copy, she does all of this. And she recently she's got, I don't know if you call it a newsletter, but she's got an opinion piece, which is just hers. And she was talking about how she decided to, shut the business down because she saw the writing on the wall, Like even like writing copy is honestly not easy. You need to do a lot. It's not even like the writing we do. You have to do your research. It's like a mix between writing and marketing. And if she thinks that AI is coming for that, then that's saying a lot because it's not easy to correlate both these. Like AI can write for you, but to understand your product base and marketing it, that's really saying a lot more. So I don't know what your
100%.
take on that is, but I'm also interested to hear about the revolution. और हम वैसे भी ईमान की काफी I think she's the only woman we've gone to school with who we respect.
Yeah, we like from the start. It's she's someone I always looked up to. Like I always thought she was. I mean, even back in like grade 6, I know she was in our school, and I always felt like she was very well spoken and like had this very like. No, I think she was in a different section.
Yeah, would have been cool if she was in 6C.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I mean, funny thing. I don't know if you know this, but we actually went to nursery together. Like JK.
No way. Where?
Yeah, we went. There's this place called Cuckoo's Nest.
I've never even heard of that place, man.
It was it was like a daycare, like for JKs. Nice. Like, there's just like the teacher was like, we must have been like 4 years old. So we were all just like kids,
Do you
like
have
just
memories
literally
from
just.
then?
I do, yeah.
Dude, no
but
way. I don't remember
the funny
anything.
thing is, I have very scattered memories from when I was 4, and I don't actually remember her being there at all. Yeah. Like I remember the other kids. I remember my teacher there, like memories of her being dropped off at the daycare and everything.
Right.
But it's funny. I had no memory of her being there. But then later we talked about where we went to school and everything, and it came up there somehow that we'd gone to the same place.
Nice.
And then she showed me like photos and videos like from our daycare, you know, like when we would yeah, there were videos where, because we would do things like, you know, have like a choir, like where all the kids sing together and stuff like that.
Dude,
you know,
it was really rare to have a camcorder back then, you know, not like
it was, man. But honestly, my dad was a big fan of those, and apparently so were Iman's parents, because they're the ones who like you know, recorded that performance.
Nice.
And then I saw it, you know, I was like singing in like the back row, and I think she was in the front row, you know, and like we were in the same choir, and I'm like, oh shit, you went to the same exact daycare, like
Nice.
what are the odds? But but then again, Doha is a small place, so it is more, you know, it is quite likely. But still, it's like I knew her from there, you know, originally.
नहीं यार, ये काफी इत्तेफाक की बात है. It's very rare.
100%, man. But I was gonna say, you know, I did not know that she shut down her business, because I remember I saw that, man. She'd worked with some really big names, and I'm like, man, it's crazy that she started this thing just from like her, you know, like her basement, you know. Like it's like what they call like a garage hedge fund, kind of like like a garage startup, you know, like it's really from scratch, you know, from nothing, and like to go from that all the way to like working with big industry names, and all in a like pretty short span of time, all by yourself. What was that?
It was very professional.
Yeah, it's very impressive too, man. I don't, you know, I would say most people wouldn't, you know, they wouldn't be able to learn all of those different functions of, you know, a business, and be able to launch it in such a short period of time.
Yeah, it takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, man, for sure. But yeah, then again, man, she was very like, she's always been very talented and very well spoken, and you know, knows her shit.
सिर्फ एक बात है उसके खिलाफ, जो सुडोकू है भाई.
Sudoku.
And to anybody who doesn't get that reference, like maybe we'll tell the story, मगर हमने इतनी तारीफ की है बंदी की कि पता नहीं भाई.
Sudoku. That's the funniest thing I've heard in years, man. Sudoku. But नहीं यार, ये तो वैसे इसका कोई सबूत है नहीं, you know. हमने वैसे इमाद की तरफ से सुना है भी नहीं कि तो
यार सही. मैं सोचता हूँ कि दलील है भाई कि एक और आई विटनेस है, कि पता नहीं किसने मुझे बताया कि एक आई विटनेस था उसके, पता नहीं कौन है, ढूंढना पड़ेगा.
अच्छा, नहीं यार, मैं यकीन करता तो हूँ ऐसे मजाक के अलावा.
नहीं मुझे क्या फर्क पड़ता है भाई. मगर ये यार काफी खूबसूरत कहानी है कि इतने भी तरक्की किए हुए बंदी की भी इतने बेइज्जती हो सकता है. You know?
But nahi yaar, I mean, you know, Iman, bro, if she did that, I mean, I have no doubt that it was a very calculated move on her part, you know. She's someone who knows her line of work well, and like the sector like inside out. So I'm sure she was like, you know, like did her research and like was able to see how, you know, this is not something that's sustainable for the long run.
हाँ यार, मैं भी मानता हूँ कि मेरी जो काम है, मैं काफ़ी लिखता हूँ, कि रिपोर्ट्स काफ़ी लिखता हूँ. It's not my main function, it's just that उतने लोग नहीं होते जो ज़ुबानी अच्छे से कहते हैं. But most of that I can do with AI now, you know. Like मैं खुद लिखता नहीं ज़्यादा, कि even if it's not exactly what ends up, like I'll get the first draft from AI.
जी बिल्कुल. नहीं यार, ये तो मैं भी अपने काम में काफ़ी इस्तेमाल करता हूँ, you know, to make things some things much easier, you know, like if I need to, you know, it's just, it makes things more efficient, I think, you know, like
Yeah.
I don't have to spend a whole hour writing up a paragraph that I can use ChatGPT to write, you know.
Exactly.
It definitely has some, like, it makes sense from like an efficiency standpoint too, to use it for to perform many functions.
Agreed.
And I'm excited for it too, man. Like, there's a lot of like revolutionary things that that AI has made possible. Like, I don't know if you've seen Neuralink.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it's quite exciting. Yeah.
Fuck, man, they've actually used it to like restore cognitive functioning to people who had a stroke or like who had like paralysis, you know. Like it's they're able to like walk again or like you know, like speak again thanks to like the AI.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless. But like, just on this, I was doing this today. So I'm doing this course with London School of Economics, which is called the Ethics of AI, right? And
Nice.
so what's in there is how inherent what do you call it, discrimination, right? It comes through on AI as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, you remember in the SAT exam was really something that was inherently discriminatory against black people.
It was.
And it's
Definitely.
thing. It's the same thing with AI. It has the same inherent biases, and like there is the entire course is based on how you can spot these. It's obviously not on purpose, you know, but this does end up happening, and they're trying to figure out
100%.
like how to not figure out, but they're trying to lay out a roadmap as to what should be the ethics of AI, and it's quite interesting, to be honest.
No, man, it is a much needed discussion, and it's something I wrote about as well. And like the class wasn't about AI; it was about the law, like sociology of the criminal justice system, and it was just asking, like, you know, now they've incorporated AI in like the court system, like they've used it in many court proceedings as part of like, you know, many. To automate many functions in the legal field. Yeah. You know, like paralegals are not so much of a thing anymore because it's automated.
True.
And the question they raised was like, you know, can we use AI to make the justice system more fair and more like less discriminatory?
Right.
And you know, a lot of what I found based on my research was that, you know, a lot of human biases are passed on to the AIs, because ultimately it's humans who are like making AI, right?
Yeah, it's and even the data that it has is data that's come from, you know, human biases and perceptions and judgments.
That makes so much sense, man. And it's subject to the same biases as the rest of society.
Yeah.
But no, man, that's a solid point, and I think, you know, that's something that'll have to be addressed. You know, how to like
exactly.
You know,
it can't think on its own. It's just recognizing patterns, and the pattern of human history is discriminatory. So, you know, you're going to have the same biases.
Mm-hmm. That's a solid point, man. Yeah, it makes decisions based on like what happened in the past, right? Like, you know, man, and that's why I think even with something like stock market, right? Like to write an algorithm that would you know give you a winning streak in the stock market. I don't think that's really possible either. I still think if you're trying to beat the market, you're gonna have to have people on that, you know, like people managing the fund, people running the fund to chase these returns and do all of the analysis.
Agreed.
And really look for something that, you know.
I don't think apart from the repeated tasks that AI is really going to be able to change too much else, you know. Like, it's not going to replace humans entirely, but. Dude, just as a finance major, you know, Sam Altman came out a couple of days ago and said OpenAI should be valued at $7 trillion. What's your take on that?
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's insane, man. $7 trillion.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy is like, he probably did his research when he, put that number on it.
Yeah,
But
no company is worth more than, a trillion.
that's true, man. I think Aramco is like the most, right? It's like $1 trillion.
Yeah, and that has so much infrastructure,
Yeah, it's massive, like it's like 15% of the world's oil almost,
Yeah.
And no, you're right, man. Like 7 trillion seems kind of ridiculous, but like I wouldn't know, man. I don't know the first thing about OpenAI, and I wouldn't even know how to go about valuing it. Like what kind of I would really have to look at.
I don't think he does either, because you remember when the WeWork valuation came out? That was also just made up. It's all mostly tech firm valuations are based on how much of an impact you have. Like when you're talking about the revolution, right? The 7 trillion, it's only true if it's that revolution. If it's like the industrial revolution that AI is similar to, then yes, probably. But if it's a company that cannot produce, like, all right, AI is a service you have to pay for, right? But then nobody's paying that much. Unless you really change the industry and you're the only one who can do it, there is no way. There's no way it can be valued at 7 trillion.
That's fair, man. I mean, especially just OpenAI alone. I mean, if you're talking about AI as a whole, like I can see that being worth 7 trillion at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't know. Like, I would have to look at how he arrived at that number. Like, because usually with these things, like when they're determining market cap for like a company, like where it should be.
Yeah.
It's usually based on some variables like what percentage of the market they expect to capture.
Yeah.
So then that begs the question, how big do you expect the industry to be when you're calculating this percentage value?
It's a good question, but OpenAI, in terms of like ChatGPT, is the first name you think of when you think of AI. And that's OpenAI, So even a lot of other AI software links back to ChatGPT. It's like, for example, if I made a website for you that I told you is a search engine, but what I'm really doing is I'm just going to Google behind the scenes and then giving you the results from there. It's kind of like that. It's like the Google of OpenAI of AI.
But I agree with you, man. Other than like the routine tasks of any job, it's like it's definitely not going to replace humans entirely. But it's still a game changer, man. Like there are a lot of fields that are going to be disrupted. Where I think of journalism, like columnists. Like even people writing like they do their research, like I'll give them that, like these guys aren't reporters, right? Like people who write columns, like they're not people who are going out there in general and like actually reporting the news that's on the ground. They're kind of doing like an analysis based on their fact finding and then writing about it in like opinion pieces, right? And newspapers and such. And that's a job that ChatGPT can do arguably much better than like any human,
Agreed.
Where it's able to do all of that extensive research in seconds and put it all together and articulate it well and then present it in the form of like an article or like an essay or any number of like writing pieces and that human touch is still reflected because it's based on the data is still like ultimately written by humans, right? And yeah, man, I just see that industry, but don't really see that industry having a future, like journalism. I feel like half the jobs are not going to be things anymore, like being an editor or a proofreader.
Yeah. But
all those are gone,
Here's a question. What happens when AI links back to AI? Huh? Right now you've got human articles, it's true. But then once something's made up, if you keep linking back to that, it's kind of crazy. Here's a few other things. Wikipedia, which has generally a very good reputation for not taking on false references, right? Has been completely getting messed up because it's linking back to AI articles, and you can't tell if it's an actual article or something written by AI, and like whatever's in the article's false as well. But also the like a lot of the artwork that I use for my poetry has of the recent past been done by AI as well. Like most of it, there was a time when I used to know the artists who drew it, and now it's all AI generated. So it's definitely having a very big impact quite fast.
It is, man, definitely, and that is a very good question. It'll be interesting to see what happens when you get like glitches in the matrix like that. You know. But yeah, dude, it's there are a lot of jobs though that I know there's no future in them. A lot of entire industries that I think are going to be automated.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it is definitely a big game changer. You see its impact, especially in like highly developed countries where wages are really high.
Yeah.
Where so many like fast food jobs, especially, have like completely disappeared. Where you'll have like a few people at the working at McDonald's, but then to actually place your order, you just do it on the machines,
Yeah, true. This is something but this was, the writing was on the wall, like काफी चीज यार सिर्फ automation की बात होता है, and I feel this in my general life as well, कि काफी चीजें मैं करता हूँ जो आसानी से automate कर सकता हूँ. मैं एक ही बात करते रहता हूँ भाई, तो क्यों, it's better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just more efficient, right?
Exactly, and that's the way of the world. You have to find the easiest way out. You can't deny that. और काफी लोग यार वैसे एक पॉडकास्ट में पाकिस्तानी पॉडकास्ट में सुना था कि जब प्रिंटिंग प्रेस आए थे तो सारे मौलवी उसके खिलाफ थे, और जब बाकी सारे लोग ने तरक्की की उसकी बाद तो मौलवी आ गई और कहा कि ये ठीक है, मगर उस ज़माने तक बाकी दुनिया ने इतने तरक्की की कि पाकिस्तान तो पीछे पड़ गई. और इसकी AI की हिसाब से भी मुझे ये लगता है कि if you're not with it then you're going to lose out, कि बाकी सब तो इस्तेमाल करेंगे.
हाँ भाई, इसमें तो कोई शक ही नहीं, क्योंकि it's already been like adopted, and like if you're not with it, like you're gonna fall so far behind. And like आपकी यार मतलब कितने घंटों का काम you can do it in minutes, like hours worth of work in like just a few minutes.
But like
it's
you
just
said,
it's called.
Yeah, like you said, in countries which are not developed, especially like Pakistan, India, where there's a lot of reliance on people, it's not going to be easy to implement, you'll have a lot of people lose their livelihoods.
Yeah, man, definitely, and in places like that, it's still, I think the reason it really hasn't taken off is because labor is so very cheap already.
Yeah.
So the benefit, like, from AI, like the cost savings from AI or like adopting AI, they're not really worth the cost, because you're better off just having people do it, and then you have, you're like, you still pay them like very little, because average wages are very low.
True. Journalism सिर्फ पाकिस्तान में रहेंगे.
But just अगर आप if you take Australia for example, where minimum wage is like $25 an hour,
Oh, that's high, man.
Yeah, 25. I think in some provinces it's even like 27. It's like really high,
It is.
So इसमें ये है कि at that point your employer starts to think, what if I just have like a robot, and I spent like a lot of money to buy it.
Yeah.
But then once I have it in place, think of the amount, the money I'm saving.
True. CapEx is high, OpEx is low, yeah.
Yeah, like the long-term cost savings are huge, you know. So because 25 an hour is at minimum, you're gonna pay them. That is a lot of money, you know, over time.
Yeah.
And so there's really a greater incentive for employers to adopt AI there.
True.
And yeah, man, but I do think it creates jobs as well. Like, you know, there is job creation as well from, you know, like you can use it to enhance like your art, for example. You know what I mean?
Say, Manto.
But yeah, what do you think of AI art though? Like that's a controversial one.
Oh, this is I agree. See, I'm of the opinion that an artist's work is an artist's work. Like for example, if you take the fact that I personally write, right, and AI can write as well. Now, if you ask AI to write a poem, it would end up being very similar to what I could write. But I don't think it has that artistic value. I do not think the same with the paintings as well. Because, again, AI is a repetition of whatever exists, right? So any new thought that I have, it can't. It's behind the human brain in terms of anything new. So अगर मैं original हूँ, तो it's not easy. But like if you're a painter and you want to paint something that's never been done before, AI can't do that. If you have a certain type of painting, like if you like to draw horses, for example, AI can draw something based on what you've drawn till now, right? But the day you want to start drawing like rabbits, AI can't. And I think it's the same with poetry. Like AI can write text for you, but it can probably rhyme for you, but it can't give you a thought that comes out of emotion. But what do you reckon?
That's facts.
What do you reckon?
No, you're right, man. I think even paintings, man, like I've seen a lot of AI art and it is very cool, like very impressive.
Yeah.
But it does lack that human touch that makes iconic paintings special, you know?
True.
Like an AI Mona Lisa is never going to be like worth anything, you know what I mean? Like there's never going to be like an AI Mona Lisa, you know? It's kind of like a mass manufactured thing where it's like, you know, it's based on like stuff that's already been done before, like you said.
Yeah.
Like it's never going to have that kind of like human originality or like just the originality of thought that you find in human creativity, you know?
जी ज़रूर. And पता नहीं, it's quite an interesting time, but I do reckon it's on the same scale as like the Industrial Revolution. I think it's going to have a big impact because like there have been a few things that we've been told are revolutions, like crypto, like NFTs. वो नहीं था भाई, कि it wasn't based on anything, but I think the difference with AI is it's actually worth something. And in the past year, I've been seeing a lot of governments trying to rush in legislation on AI, which is when you know it's serious, you know? Ki they're spending all their resources trying to figure out what the future is, which means this is the future.
Definitely, man, definitely. And like I've seen like just everyone adopting it in various ways in their own life, you know, like to automate routine tasks that save them so much, like so many hours as well. Like that's the biggest thing is like for me is like the amount of time I'm able to save from using AI, you know? Like I can do like so much more in that time that I save. So it's like the opportunity cost as well. Like, you know, you're working smarter instead of working harder when you use AI. And
मगर हम वक्त
it has
ज़ाया कर रहे सिर्फ यार.
हाँ नहीं सही बात है bro, ये तो है. But bro, it's I think it is a game changer, and like I can see why it's being taught as a revolution.
Yeah. What were the other revolutions, by the way?
That's a good question, man. I think the printing press was some type of revolution too, I want to say, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'll
obviously.
look it up.
No,
I'll
I'm
look
just
it up.
asking. No, I'm not that curious. I'm just asking. But
But no, it's a good question. I know the French Revolution wasn't on there.
yeah. But the Industrial Revolution is something that is downplayed very often. कि लोग समझते नहीं क्या हुआ.
बिल्कुल.
But पता नहीं यार कि काफी है. But I don't know कि ये it's one of those once in a century kind of things. So I think I think this could be one of them.
Oh, bhai, I think so. I think the fact that it's already like being taught as that means that it's gotten to that point of adoption and is only going to get bigger from here.
हाँ मगर यार मैं एक भी बात कहता हूँ कि मुझे काफ़ी अरसे से ये बंदे हमें यार इल्म है वो बंदे को कि the people who've been working on AI like for the past 8 to 10 years I've known the engineers who have been working on this और ज़रूर ये उतने भी कामयाब इन्वेंशन नहीं भाई कि like जो बंदे इसको डेवलप की है I know what kind of people they are तो अभी भी काफ़ी तरक्की बाकी है.
हाँ bro, ये बात तो सही है आपकी. It's like even in ChatGPT I see that where it's still subject to a lot of human flaws.
Yeah.
And even on topics where information is widely available, it doesn't always do a good job of presenting and summarizing its key points, and often gets a lot of them wrong.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever read philosophy and heard of Michel Foucault.
Yeah.
So he's written a lot on surveillance and punishment and discipline, and a lot about the principles and the philosophies underlying justice and surveillance. And he's considered kind of like the the major thinker on those topics. And यार ये कहाँ से बात शुरू हुई थी?
On नालायक बंदे who developed AI.
And it was like something after that.
Oh man, how it gets things.
Oh yeah, ChatGPT. नालायक बंदे. You're right.
Yeah.
So I remember looking Foucault up on ChatGPT and. Yeah, man, it got a lot of the facts just straight up wrong, and even though it's only like a quick Google away.
Yeah. यार ये काफ़ी होता है और ये भी यार अक्सर बात है कि like for example an airline that was using AI for what do you call it, like chat support, customer service, yeah. Customer service, is that what it's called? Like support, right? AI,
customer support.
Yeah, so AI actually offered discounts to customers, which the airline ended up refusing, right? But then the ruling came out in favor of the customers, saying, this might not be a person who works for you, it might be software, but it said what it said, so you have to honor this.
No fucking way, dude.
Yeah, it's getting a lot of shit wrong, man. It's far from perfect.
Yeah, that's definitely true, man. I mean, and there are also concerns about deep fakes, man. That is something that worries me because
I'm really annoyed by how much Taylor Swift has to do with deep fakes instead of all the people who have suffered more than this, like ये कौन सी इंसाफ है भाई? Like people, like there's a journalist called Rana Ayyub who's almost had her entire personality discredited because of deep fakes, and then there's Taylor Swift, but Taylor Swift has the biggest impact.
Bro, and You're right, man. I just see her everywhere now, you know?
हाँ यार बंदी
And,
कर क्या रहा है? She was at the MCG, she was in Sydney. Like I don't get the Swiftie hype. Like I really don't. Like मुझे ये बंदी खूबसूरत नहीं लगता है, वो अच्छे like artist नहीं लगता है, कुछ नहीं लगता है भाई. And she's also pretty old. मेरी type की नहीं है, but like I'm going to anger a lot of women who are not in any way my type. So क्या फर्क पड़ता है?
bro, I do think the hype is a little too much. And, you know, me personally, man, I like, don't really care about her, like, you know, personal life. And people, like, really talk about that a lot, you know, like, in celebrity gossip. Like,
and she's always with someone new.
her.
By the time you learn, you know, बंदे के नाम कोई और बंदे होता है. But
Exactly, ye baat hai, you know, and for me, man, I was always a Katy Perry kind of guy, you know, so I always loved Katy Perry's. It was her music, and like I always thought she was gorgeous too, you know.
Yeah. But यार अगर जो ये Taylor Swift करते एक बंदा करते हुए ना, तो he'd be, you know, against the wall. He'd be labeled as a womanizer. But पता नहीं, double standards भी हम भी काफी इस्तेमाल करते हैं. But
true.
I think
just like DiCaprio.
हाँ, DiCaprio सही. मगर but he gets a very bad rap for it, doesn't he? But
हाँ नहीं, लेकिन काफी इज्जत भी करते हैं बंदे, तो उसको
हाँ,
they
बंदे
look up
तो
to him.
जरूर इज्जत करते हैं. But यार to me, if if a girl, like मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, this is all hypothetical, yeah, but if a woman I met was perfect in every way, but she was a Swiftie, I wouldn't date her.
ये तो मैं समझ सकता हूँ, bro. I mean, कोई you know, I'm not gonna hold that against you, you know, because Swifties का यार, they are pretty. I think this is true of many fan clubs.
Yeah.
Even though I honestly don't mind Taylor Swift's music. Like, I'll listen to it on occasion.
Right.
I hear it gets played on the radio a lot, so I do end up listening to it anyway. Because when I'm going somewhere, or like, you know, when I'm out somewhere, her music is played like everywhere, you know. So I don't mind it too much, but I do think, man, people are a little too obsessed with her, you know.
I agree, and यार एक तो बात ये मैं कहूँगा कि जब हम छोटे थे, हमारी उम्र की बंदियाँ इसकी फैंस थे, और जब हम बड़े हुए, अब भी ये छोटी उम्र वाली बंदियाँ इसकी फैंस है. तो कहाँ है भाई अगली जनरेशन की टेलर स्विफ्ट? ये क्यों नहीं आ रहा है?
हाँ, सही में यार, मतलब it's like I'm surprised she stayed relevant since we were. That's such a good point, dude. हम कब मतलब शायद 9th में थे जब टेलर का यार मतलब क्रेज शुरू हुआ था. It was 2008, I think, you know.
Yeah.
When she came out with Love Story.
Yeah.
और बहुत ही यार, it was like सब दीवाने हो गए थे, you know, like, and just all the high school romance, you know. It was like it's like the song, she had like big curly hair back then, you know, and now that's what, like 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Or abhi tak, bro, people of that age and younger are her fans. Like,
she's almost 40. Like, you've got to, you know, like एक ज़माने के बाद यार बंदी तो भी बदलने पड़ते. Stop singing about love, you know, like कुछ और की बात, like sing about having kids or something, like, you know. You've seen that meme.
She's 34.
Yeah, which is almost 40. Yeah, almost 40.
That's closer to 30 than 40. But honestly, dude, she's aged really well, man. She still looks like a college girl, though, man, honestly.
I think it's all the lanity of the ex-boyfriends, but I'm really hating it so much. Yeah.
But dude, like, I will admit, man, she's aged really gracefully, dude. Like, she looks like a college sophomore, you know?
Sure, which is rare for white women, but we're kind of closing in on the 1 hour mark. What do you reckon this one should be called? We've had where we start from, money and teachers, I guess, and we go to AI.
Yeah, AI, surveillance, Swifties.
Yeah, कहाँ गए भाई? What do we call this one?
How about Saas, bahu, or swifties?
Yeah. Dude, you are on fire. But this has been the Karshan FS Show, Season 3, Episode 4, Saas, Bahu, or Swifties. We'll see you in the next one.